everything's different. Let's start.
Although.
Let's see, I almost lost what was I saying. What did I say? Don't
Although
want
I
to
can't
give up the shit. Yeah. Wow, that is like such a good spleen tie-in, because here she's holding onto the shit, and that shit is killing you in your body.
It's toxic.
Toxic shit. Look at the stuff in my wagon. It's very heavy. All right.
Smells like it, but I like it.
No. Although part of me
Although part of me
is afraid.
is afraid.
Although part of me
Although part of me
is afraid
is afraid
to give up
to give up
any of my shit.
any of my shit.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Afraid to give up any of my shit. Is that her phone?
No.
That was her
No.
phone.
I
I just thought it would be interesting if her phone rang whenever she's like, I'm afraid to give up my shit. Oh, your shit's gone.
It's almost like she doesn't have the energy to go through it right now, so she's got to keep it.
And it's almost like being in a bad relationship that you want out of, but you don't have the energy to get the fuck out. You know, that's a frustrating place to be in, because it's like, oh.
That's exactly.
Or like people that's like, or people that have like fibromyalgia or something toxic like that, the very thing they need to be doing is exercising to move and pump the lymphatic system, but they don't fucking feel like it.
Worn out,
So,
you do it.
Yeah.
Because you're dragging all that shit.
But that maybe Teresa, you being here tonight, which is a new thing for a while, maybe that's the cue in for you to get. I mean, because there's interesting how cosmic things work, right? Because I sometimes look at. Go ahead, Teresa.
Well, the thing is sometimes when you're working with them, they are scared to a new situations.
Change.
Because
scared
even
of
if they are
change.
the shit, but the shit is comfortable.
Ah,
There
very good
you
point.
go. Good point.
But the thing about that is maybe this will help you in working with people. Even if you're just holding in your mind, you need, maybe you can find a theme that's about most of those people that have the spleen lymphoma issues or lymphatic issues that you're working with. They're just afraid to let go of their shit, and that's mostly what Teresa does. So it's interesting that this is coming up, and Teresa showed up and has been with. So that's that weird cosmic thing, like that movie showing up.
Yes.
Year or month after I put it in the queue, totally fitting with the movie. That's the crazy shit I love, So.
But what she said makes sense. Because she's comfortable in that shit, even though it's wearing her down. She doesn't want to let it go, because then she loses part of who she's programmed herself
Well,
that she is.
that's the identity, because that's the astrology. If you think you're a certain thing, then you have to, because here's the thing that's been coming to me. If you believe it, you have to then play by those freaking rules, right? You believe it, it owns you, it controls you. So, and my new thing is like, maybe I don't want to believe anything. Unless I choose what I want to believe, like everything. Like one of my favorites is what Deborah says. Tell me what you say.
Everything works perfect for me.
Yeah, and what's interesting, if you play with
my
that,
phone?
is it her phone this time?
It's dinging.
Yeah, it's just Jeremy saying.
What?
It is her phone.
It's just Jeremy, okay.
Okay.
It's a text.
Jeremy, who's Jeremy?
He's a friend of the Star Trek Club.
Okay.
Star Trek, huh?
No. Oh, that's wrong. Okay. So what Deborah said is everything works perfectly for me. And if you keep programming, because here's the thing, if you repeat it, you're programming yourself with that new belief when you've been programmed with all these other beliefs to do another way. So if you want something to change, that's the power of affirmations, which I kind of screwed up with in my perception, because I didn't think the affirmations were as strong as they could be. And the reason for that is because sometimes in order to make that program stick, you've got to stick with it long enough to rewrite or write over the old crap, okay? And most people, that's another belief system. How can I even say that? I'm limited in my language now. What my past experience is that a lot of people didn't have the wherewithal to keep with the affirmation and long enough to make it a new rewrite. In other words, they'll say it for a little while and then not keep up with it. Because doing an affirmation actually takes quite a bit of energy if you're going to stick with it. Because you get a flat tire, let's say this is the date. I'm going to give you an example of why that sometimes doesn't work. You wake up in a good mood and you're like, oh, everything works good for me. And you're going along, get a flat tire to work, and you're like, okay, everything works for me. I'm getting this flat tire for a good reason. Maybe I'm going to miss a car wreck up here. I'm going to do it like a New Age person would think. So you fix your tire, and you go to get your coffee, and you're rushing to work because the tire was flat, and you spill coffee all down the front of you, and you're like, everything works good for me. And Well, what I'm getting at is as the day goes on, it gets worse and worse, and your ability to hold everything works for me starts to fluctuate. So it gets really difficult to say something positive when the world is showing you something negative, right? But that's the very thing that can change you, which is again that is the force of self-mastery. No, this looks like shit, but I'm going to make it
Stay centered.
Yeah.
Stay centered.
Yeah. So let's go with it. I'm totally talking way too much, but
I know.
You're totally doing everything right.
I'm totally doing everything right.
That's
That's true.
That's right.
Everything is
Maybe what
happening
you're saying needs to be said.
Yeah. So, Bambi, cue me back in. Oh, what did you say again, Teresa, about?
But I said there's some people that are comfortable in the sheet and they are scared to clean themselves up and do another
Yeah.
next
Changes-
step in
changes
their life.
scary.
It's
Changes.
scary.
It's like, it's nice and
Yeah.
warm in the
Scary,
shit.
yeah.
You don't want to step out of it and wash it off. So,
Familiar.
change.
I understand.
So let's just throw this in for jollies. Although change
Although change
freaks me out a little bit,
freaks me out a little bit,
I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
Although I'm afraid to drop some of my stuff
Although I'm afraid to drop some of my stuff
because things will change
because things will change.
and I don't know what will happen
I don't know what will happen
as a result of that change.
as a result of that change.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
So the image I had was her holding on to stuff, and if you let it go, you have to be open to the change. So she's mentally, emotionally holding on to some stuff, which means her body is then holding on, in this case, to the lymphatic stuff, which is causing the sluggishness. So here, another image that comes to my mind is, Laura had a dog who, if you threw the ball with other dogs, he had 2 balls, the dog would try to put both balls in his mouth, and everybody else, I got both balls, right? And it's like, here she is holding all this stuff, and then trying to walk through the desert, putting all your images together, and it's getting so hard and heavy to hold everything together that her movement is getting labored, she's losing energy, she's losing nutrients, because the spleen and pancreas in the stomach is where you absorb your nutrients. You're spending so much energy here, tending to all those things, that you lose the ability to digest the thing that's going to give you the strength to do it. So it's like, okay, you're going to have to drop something or put it in a wheelbarrow or something to lessen your load. Yeah, Beth?
But she said, I don't want to give any of that.
Right, yeah.
So there's some control.
Exactly. That's what that's what I went to this.
Yes.
This is,
that's what-
I'm going to make it
Mine. I want that. I want that. I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that.
Or what will people think of me if I?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's.
If I drop this, I felt a ping on that one because a lot of her obligations are about helping other people and
All
obligation,
of her
right? The
obligations.
church, everything. So if she drops that, it could be the perception of I'm not
Worthy. I'm
Yeah.
not good
self
enough.
and fear of others. I think more it's a self thing. Spleen is usually self-worth issues, self-image. So let's just throw this in for jollies because we're not going to tackle this whole thing because we're talking way too much over it. But it needs to be said. Although I'm afraid
Although I'm afraid
to drop some of the things I'm carrying
to drop some of the things I'm carrying
and change my perception
and change my perception,
and see things in a new way,
see things in a new way,
I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
Afraid to drop some of the things I'm carrying.
Afraid to drop some of the things I'm carrying.
Afraid to drop some of the things I'm carrying.
Afraid to drop some of the things I'm carrying.
Afraid to drop some of the things I'm carrying.
Afraid to drop some of the things I'm carrying.
My attention is going back to you, Teresa. Say that one more time. There's something you said that I'm missing about, afraid to...
People are comfortable.
What I see in a lot of people is that they are used to do all these pains, all what you call it shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That shit, they hold on to pains, they hold on because they may be attention to others.
Mhm.
So the fact that when you get the point that you can clean up all this shit, all these obligations, and make a new step of life and good energy, they are afraid to doing it.
Afraid to make a
So
big
they
change.
hold it, that
Okay.
shit. I'm comfortable in my thing because it's what I know.
All right.
So it
That's
can
the-
be
that's
a
the part.
use or
I
trust
know, yeah.
also. How I'm going to trust that to a new step to clean is going to be okay for me.
Yeah, and then here's the thing about this, because where part of my consciousness is going is like the hoarding consciousness. There's a hoarding thing where you hold on to things, and that message when you find a hoarder is they're holding on for a sense of security. Because what if they let something go, they've lost something. And usually there's a tie into grief and maybe even losing a physical person. So they're holding on to whatever they can materially because they're afraid to let it go. So that's good. So I'm going to throw this in just in a way. Although I'm afraid
Although I'm afraid
to let go of some of my stuff,
to let go of some of my stuff,
some of my obligations.
some of my obligations.
I love and accept myself.
I love and
Ooh, that feels really good to me. Afraid to let go of some of my stuff
Afraid to let go of some of my stuff
and my obligations.
and my obligations.
Afraid to let go of some of my stuff
Afraid to let go of some of my stuff
and my obligations
and my obligations.
It's like
because they define me.
Because
it's
they define
self-imposed
me.
obligations.
Yeah, it is, totally. I'm afraid to let go of these things
I'm afraid to let go of these things.
because they define me.
That pains me.
They define me.
That has a lot to do with empathic people. I'm afraid to let go of some of the things I've been carrying
I'm afraid to let go of some of the things I've been carrying
because it defines me.
because it defines me.
And I don't know
And I don't know
who I would be then.
who I would be.
And I'm scared
And I'm scared
of the unknown.
of the unknown.
Although I'm scared
Although I'm scared
of the unknown,
of the unknown,
I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be okay.
Scared of what I don't know.
Scared of what I don't know.
So that holding on is, this is what I know. It's like grief. When you lose somebody, even if the person doesn't die, you know, you're in a relationship and you lose that person, a lot of what you're holding on to, even if the relationship sucks ass, you're holding on to what's comfortable. Just like Teresa said, you're holding on to that. It's kind of like that James Taylor song is like, hold me tonight. I'm going to screw the words up, but it's like, don't let me be lonely tonight. This may be a screwed up relationship, but I don't want to be lonely tonight, so I'm afraid to let go of that.
So I'll stay in my shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like she said, she still puts her leg in the car even though she probably doesn't need to anymore. That's like, it's like familiar.
Yeah, it's a pattern. And there's nothing wrong with that because that could be a good thing, because we're not saying that don't do that.
But
Because
it's avoiding pain, it's the avoidance
Right.
of pain.
oh, perfect. Okay, that's what I wanted right there. Although I'm avoiding
Although I'm avoiding
perceived pain,
perceived pain.
Our expected.
expected is a good word here. Although I'm avoiding
Although I'm avoiding
pain that I'm expecting to happen,
pain that I'm expecting to happen.
Anticipating.
if I let go
If I let go
of some of my obligations
of some of my obligations
and change
and change
my habit patterns,
my habit patterns,
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
What time is it?
8:05.
That's
Huh?
operator.
8:05.
8:05. Afraid to let go
Afraid to let go
and change.
and change.
Afraid to let go of some of my obligations
Afraid to let go of some of my obligations
and change.
and change.
Yeah, I would say that's the core of it right there. Is the physical body is holding on to this lymphatic trash, which is a better word than shit. It's the stuff that you're holding on to that you don't want to let go of. But you know, if somebody else looked at it, like a hoarder, if you go into a hoarder's house, you would say, that's a bunch of shit, right? But to that person, it can be super, super
Very
important
important.
and sentimental, you know. Like I knew somebody that's helping somebody clean up some stuff, and this person, it seems almost insane if you're from the outside looking in, but they had this whole, you know, those little trailer things, that some people, it's like double doors, and you see a lot of the metal ones in storage places. Well, this person had one of those full of empty boxes. They could not let go of the empty boxes. That was one of the things they were hoarding on. And then you could actually study, or not study it, look into that and see what it is that they needed, what the boxes represented. You know,
I love containers.
you love containers. I'm a little
Boxes, bags.
I'm kind of like that too. Like I was a geek, you know, not that I was a great person in school, but my favorite part of the year, probably the best part of the year, was when we get to go shopping and get new shiny
School
binders
supplies.
and yes, I love like organizing. That's me. I guess it's because the organization part of me. I love to all put it nice and neat, all brand new.
I can
You know, that only lasted so long.
School supplies at the beginning of the year.
So I would recommend working on the spleen stomach issue around, you don't have to go, I let go of this stuff, but the fear of letting go of it is leading to the control. Control is secondary. So there's a fear of letting it go, which is making you having to hold on to this. And this holding on to this is then causing the physical pain. That's why I'm so much about changing the mental emotional, because the physical is showing up because of it. Okay? Now we can massage the hell out of her, you know, do some colonics and clean her out. But if that pattern isn't changed, what is she
Still
going to
holding
do?
on to it.
My
Just
dad,
build back up.
my dad was on the borderline of a hoarder, okay? He's just a pack rat. So I remember one time I took the time, I was all proud to clean his garage out. Oh my God, it looks perfect. You could actually get a vehicle in it before. You couldn't put a bike in it. Okay? But I cleaned it out. You could actually pull a car into it.
How long did it take?
It was a garage. Maybe, I'm probably going to exaggerate, but I kid you not, it was no more than a month. It was worse than it was before. And I learned from that is like, I can't take and clean up his shit. He's got to. So if I go do that, if we manually do this for her, she's going to muck it back up. Because the pattern, the program she's running, which is I can't let go of this stuff or blah, 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 we've already talked about that, is what's holding it in place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say with all the stuff I've said tonight, is that the program is holding that in place, and I don't care what you do to her, lipo, everything, take everything, make her look like a supermodel. If the program's there, it'll eventually go back in.
So what are we going to give her to affirm?
Okay, yeah. So, thank you, Deborah, because I was like, we got to focus on the end. We got to focus on the end. So, what would you like, even if it doesn't involve letting go of stuff, for your physical body, what would you affirm? What would you want to experience with your physical body?
I want to lose weight, so there'll be less pressure on my joints and less.
Thinner.
When I weighed less, I did have less joint pains.
Okay. So, laying west.
Wow.
Laying
I was just some similar. Shut up. Laying west.
It's close enough.
Switch it.
Well, of course she wants to
So
get rid of the extra weight.
I think the weighing less is more of a secondary thing. Okay. I want you to affirm something more about I know that the weight is the physical body, but I don't want to feed you a particular thing, but I'm going to feed you a little bit, okay? If the issue is about moving freely, I would want you to affirm something like that. So in other words, I move freely within my environment and my life without feeling like I'm stuck. That alone is another way of putting in another program as opposed to what's there.
Well, see, what I heard her say was she wants less in her life to feel less
Right,
pressure.
exactly. That's a good point. So she's saying, I want to weigh less, which means, and why, that's perfect for what Katie said, but if she has a resistance to letting go of that stuff, that affirmation is not going to go very far. Because that affirmation is going right against the issue, but she's like saying, I want to weigh less, but what does she have to do to weigh less? She has to drop what?
Let go.
The weight. That weight is also the mental emotional obligation. Weight, physical weight is, in this case, the mental emotional obligation plus the physical issue. So if she's going to drop this weight, we can just go to, if I move freely and focus on that, it might be a workaround for her consciousness to where, okay, I'm going to focus on that. But then when you're walking up to that, you can also on the side be getting rid of the other. Does that make sense? Let's say that in the right way.
Well, what I see is, you see she say that her left, it hurts sometimes, but then it can be the right. But then it's the right hand, but then it can be the left. To me, the program of her body is telling her, if you don't stop, I will make you stop. And it's going to be worse. So she has to have that program of herself, or mentally or spiritually, to say, okay, that is what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm going to not do, to take that away from me, because my body will stop me anyway if I don't.
I like that, Teresa. I'm going to put it in my own language. But I'm saying the same thing. So it's Teresa's like it's going this way, this way, this way. It's like her body is saying you don't have control, which is trying to get her to what? Let go of control, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to hurt sometimes, and you're not going to be able to predict that. You're not going to predict this, but every once in a while it may hit you. But I'm trying to make you drop control so that then this will go away. Yeah, I totally believe that. So, but the control to me is the secondary thing, because the initial thing is I've got to do all this, or I have this, and the control is you got to then be very controlling to hold all that. And controlling is like, you can't let it go. Okay, does that make sense?
So do we have something solid for?
Yeah. Did that sound good? Like, I mean, you can do something along this line. Thank you, Beth. I move freely within my environment and my life. Does that sound good or me? Well, tell me something you would say, maybe, around that. Tell me your thought process. What are you thinking right now? Screw this?
I'm thinking of silk. I don't know. or more silky words,
Okay, well, give me some silky words.
that I would flow
There you go.
better through life.
There you go. Yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta do it in a person's language. Yeah. So what'd you say that again? I
I
flow.
flow more easily through life.
Okay, let's say this. I choose to flow more easily through life.
Okay. I choose to flow more easily through life.
And I recommend doing this back and forth. So one is I'm choosing, and then the other is you also affirm I flow easily through life. So you can do both of those. It's like I choose and I do flow. I choose and I do. I choose to flow easily through life, and I do flow easily through life. Kind of play with those. And if you keep with that affirmation, things will start to change because what did we just write for her?
A new program.
A new program, right? And the new program is either going to overwrite, I mean override, but overwrite. You're overwriting the old program, or you're wiping it out completely. So, yeah, I like that.
It's a reframe, too.
Reframe.
Right.
Reframe.
So she is. We all have sheets for her. Would you give that to her?
Oh, thank you for that. Donna wrote that down, so that's cool.
Everybody did. So she's just
Oh, yeah.
and they'll all be different.
You have like 10 different perceptions of that.
That's
So let's pull
right.
this out.
Just pick out what you like, Laura.
Pick out what makes sense.
So I know I spent a lot of time framing all that up so we could explain that, but does that make sense?
Perfect.
So on Sundays, we're going to keep going in this vein of working with rewriting the program to get that change to happen. And you know, it's amazing to me how things play out in different ways, like Teresa coming and it being around the lymphatic system, and that's mostly what she does. Anyway, that's just cool.
Rewriting, when we first read through the list on spleen, the word obsession stood out to me, but I have no idea what I was obsessed about. But now with all of this, okay, that holding on, that is
an obsession, exactly.
Laura,
See,
every time I see you at church,
Yeah.
you mention all these things that you do, these classes that you go to, these organizations. You mentioned the Star Trek group. And I thought, I don't know how in the world she does all that.
And now you
And
know
you
her.
You should see my house. Messy.
Oh,
Okay,
well.
we're neither very good at
See, but that's another map. It's feng shui. Her house is messy because she doesn't have time to clean it up, just like she doesn't have the time and energy to clean up that in her body. The feng shui is the reflection of the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the clutter in your house represents the clutter in your physical body, period. That's how it all works. It's cool. Awesome. I love it.
Very good.
Yeah. You got your favorite thing.
I know, it's hard to fix.
That's fun.
Okay, good.
Body won't let it